If you thought you knew everything about how to train your dragon, think again. Because hidden beneath the fire, the flights, and the friendship are stuffed secrets, mysteries, and theories that completely change the way you think. Let's start with something that doesn't get enough attention: dragon evolution. Have you ever noticed how dragons solve the same problem in completely different ways? Take the Boneknapper and the Armorwing. Both of them have fragile skin, so what do? One scavenges bones, literally draping itself in a skeleton for protection. The other, it welds metal into armor using white-hot flames. When we say that's not just a design choice, what we mean is this: the similarities between certain dragons in how to train your dragon don't feel random. Take the Boneknapper and the Armorwing as examples. On the surface, they look wildly different. One covers itself in bones, the other literally welds metal plates to its body. But when you step back and really think about it, both of them are solving the same problem. Their skin is weak and vulnerable. That's where the idea of shared ancestry comes in. In the natural world, animals that face the same survival challenges often evolve in similar ways. Maybe one adapts by developing thicker fur, while another grows tougher scales. But at the core, both are responding to the same danger. It's the same with these dragons. The Boneknapper scavenges armor from the dead, while the Armorwing forges its own protection. Two completely different strategies, but both rooted in the same genetic flaw. And here's why that makes them feel so real. Suddenly, dragons don't just seem like fantasy creatures someone drew up in a sketchbook. They start behaving like real animals shaped by evolution. They've got weaknesses, instincts, and problem-solving abilities that mirror the way actual creatures on Earth adapt to their environments. Instead of being random monsters, they feel like living, breathing species with history written into their DNA. Now, here's where things get really creepy. What if Night Furies and Skrills are cousins? Think about it. Both are lightning fast, both are terrifyingly intelligent, and both command raw energy. Toothless firing pinpoint plasma blasts, the Skrill channeling lightning like a living storm. Even their bodies tell the story. Slender, aerodynamic, built for speed. It's almost like they split from the same evolutionary branch, one mastering plasma, the other electricity. And suddenly, Toothless isn't just rare. He's the last of a forgotten bloodline. Here's a secret most people miss. Toothless doesn't actually belong in Berk at all. Grimmel, the so-called Night Fury killer, once claimed these dragons can't survive the cold. And when you watch Toothless closely, he kind of proves it. Sure, he loves playing in the snow, but before he lies down, he always warms the ground with fire. When you really look at Toothless, some of his habits don't match up with the other dragons we see around Berk. Most dragons in the archipelago seem perfectly at home in the freezing climate. They don't worry about curling up in the snow, they don't build fires to stay warm, and they certainly don't act bothered by the cold. But Toothless is different. Remember how he often blasts the ground with fire before lying down to sleep? That's not just showing off. It's him making his own heated bed. And that's where the clue comes in. That isn't the instinct of a creature that was born in the cold. Animals that are naturally adapted to icy environments, like polar bears or Arctic foxes in our world, don't need to create warmth because their bodies already do the job. But tropical animals, they'll seek heat, they'll burrow, they'll sunbathe, anything to keep their bodies at the right temperature. Toothless behaves exactly like that. So the theory goes, maybe Night Furies aren't native to Berk at all. Maybe they come from warmer, more tropical regions. If that's true, then Toothless being in Berk was never supposed to happen. He could have wandered north, gotten lost, or been forced away from his true habitat by hunting or territorial fights, which would mean Toothless was a complete outsider, a lost wanderer in a world that wasn't built for him. And that's what makes his connection with Hiccup so powerful. Out of all the places he could have ended up, out of all the people who could have crossed his path, he met the one Viking who didn't see him as a monster. That bond wasn't just unlikely, it was pure fate. But hold up, let's talk about Grimmel himself. The guy brags about wiping out Night Furies, but where's the proof? No bones, no trophies, nothing. For a man obsessed with glory, that's suspicious. What if he never killed a single one? Think about it. His obsession with Toothless might not be about finishing the hunt. It might be about finally proving himself. Grimmel's entire legend could be nothing but smoke and ego. And if Grimmel's a fraud, then maybe Drago is the real monster. Take a closer look at his massive black cloak. What if it's made from Night Fury hides? It fits his brutal, power-hungry personality perfectly. and it explains why night furies are so rare. If Drago hunted them for their hides, the survivors would have fled far away, leaving Toothless completely alone. Here's a secret that will blow your mind. What if Toothless isn't even a night fury? Some fans believe he's actually a melanistic light fury. In the animal kingdom, melanism happens when a creature's pigment turns pitch black. Suddenly, the night fury isn't its own species. It's just an ultra-rare color variation. That would mean the legend of the night fury was never about a species, just a handful of dragons born different. And Toothless? He might be one in a billion. At the end of the trilogy, Hiccup makes what looks like the ultimate sacrifice. He decides to send all the dragons away to the hidden world, a secret, untouched place deep beneath the ocean. On the surface, it's one of the most noble choices in the series. He's protecting dragons from hunters, greed, and the endless cycle of conflict with humans. The goodbye scene between Hiccup and Toothless is emotional for a reason. It feels like the right thing to do. But if you pause and think about it, was it actually a mistake? Here's why some fans believe it might have been. Dragons weren't just majestic companions, they were a vital part of the ecosystem. They controlled fish populations, they kept other dangerous creatures in check, and they maintained a balance in nature that Vikings didn't even realize they were relying on. Remove an apex predator, or in this case, dozens of apex predators from the environment, and you risk throwing the entire system out of balance. Imagine the seas without dragons feeding on massive schools of fish. The fish populations would spike at first, but then crash once food ran out. Imagine villages now vulnerable to sea serpents or other monsters that dragons used to keep away. The ripple effect could lead to famine, overpopulation of certain animals, and a collapse of the natural order that humans had unknowingly built their lives around. So, while Hiccup's decision came from love and a desire to protect, it may have unintentionally doomed the surface world to a future of imbalance and chaos. It flips that bittersweet ending on its head. What looked like the safest choice for dragons may have been the most dangerous choice for humans. Dragons weren't just companions. They were apex predators, balancing the ecosystem. Remove them, and suddenly fish overpopulate. Predators surge. Nature collapses. Hiccup thought he was saving dragons, but what if he doomed the surface world instead? Now let's talk about one of the biggest mysteries in the series, the Dragon Eye. A device that projects holograms, reveals hidden maps, and holds knowledge way beyond Viking technology. How do holograms exist in a medieval world? Unless this isn't medieval at all. One theory says the How to Train Your Dragon universe is post-apocalyptic. The Dragon Eye is a relic of a fallen, advanced civilization, which means humanity isn't rising, it's rebuilding. And the dragons? They may have been part of the collapse itself. Remember how Toothless was first introduced? Not as a cuddly cat dragon, but as Berk's biggest threat. Some fans think that wasn't just instinct. They believe Toothless was once a villain, or at least an anti-hero. His mastery of combat, his command over other dragons, these aren't the traits of a passive creature. They're the instincts of a warrior. If that's true, then Hiccup didn't just find a friend. He redeemed a killer. And finally, the darkest secret of them all. What if night furies weren't made to hunt humans, but to hunt other dragons? Picture Toothless not as a cuddly sidekick, but as a finely tuned fighting machine. Every part of him crafted for one job: dominate the sky. Those plasma blasts? They're not random fireballs. They're surgical tools, shaped and timed for fast aerial encounters. When two creatures are darting and weaving at 100 miles an hour, a broad spray won't need bursts that track, punch through armor, and stop a chase in its tracks. That's what those blasts feel like. Engineered for birds of prey dynamics, precise and terrifyingly effective. Then there's the stealth. It's not just hard to see, it's a kind of living camouflage that folds into the air around him. Imagine brightness and shadow bending so Toothless can slip between clouds and sunlight with the same ease a cat slips between chairs at night. Predators that hunt by sight find themselves staring at empty sky. By the time they register movement, it's already too late. That stealth turns him from merely fast into practically invisible. A ghost your eyes can't commit to memory. Now add the brain. Toothless isn't run by instinct alone. His thinking is quick, adaptive, almost tactical. He reads an opponent's pattern the way a chess player reads a board, a tilt of the wing, a hesitation, a favored bank. He improvises feints, bait, and ambush, and he learns. That combination of cunning and physical tools means he doesn't just win fights. He picks how the fight will be fought. Put it all together, and you have what you might call the perfect predator. Explosive weaponry tuned for the sky, a cloak that makes him disappear, and an intelligence that plans 3 moves. Toothless isn't merely rare. He's the apex answer to every aerial threat. A dragon whose entire design screams, built to hunt dragons and built to win. That would explain why other dragons feared him. Why did he live alone? And why his bond with Hiccup is nothing short of a miracle. Because Hiccup didn't tame just any dragon, he tamed nature's perfect weapon. And there you have it, the hidden secrets of how to train your dragon. From dragon evolution to lost civilizations to Toothless's true identity, this world is deeper, darker, and way more mysterious than the movies ever let on. What are your thoughts? Which secret amazed you the most? Do you think Toothless was a predator, a misunderstood hero, or maybe both? Share your thoughts in the comments section. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe for more hidden secrets, and ring the bell so you don't miss any of these episodes. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next video.